Hey guys, and welcome back to your One Room Schoolhouse. If you're new here, my name is Mary Barfield and I am a homeschooling mama to a kindergartner and a second grader. And today's video is going to be the 5th video in this series. And the series is a review of Build Your Library Level 0 Around the World study. Now, if you are new to this program and you don't know anything about it, I would recommend going back to the beginning of my review series. I'll link the playlist up here and down below for y'all. And I tell you a little bit more about the program, I think, in the first couple of videos. I just don't want to, be too redundant in this video, but I'll give you the quickest overview of the program. It is a PDF Charlotte Mason inspired program created by Emily Cook. She is a really wonderful curriculum creator. She has levels 0 all the way up to level 12. So you could theoretically do her entire program and graduate your kid and they could go off to college or work or wherever they want to go. Now, like I said, it's PDF, so you print it off yourself, and it is literature-based because it is Charlotte Mason inspired, and we have just really enjoyed it. Now, she calls them levels versus grades because you theoretically could use this across different age levels. She says it's age 4 to 6 / kindergarten. I think this could be used well up into the later elementary school years. My second grader has thoroughly loved this. I think she could have enjoyed this program for another year or two. And realistically, you could even stretch it further and bring in your own resources for older students if you wanted to do a group, family subject. Now, it's a really great program because it also includes a lot of different subjects. And not only is it geography and culture, of course, because you're learning all about different places and people across the world, but it also includes folk tales, literature, of course, because it is literature based. It has a science component, which is an animal study, poetry, art, cooking. I mean, there is just so much that goes into this. But I think that's probably a good enough high level overview. I, again, don't want to be too redundant for those who have been watching and following with this series. Today's video is going to be a review of the unit for Africa. Now, I say unit, it's a free-flowing curriculum, but theoretically, she does break it down by continents. So we've done North America so far, South America, Europe, Asia, and now we just finished up Africa, which was such a fun, I think it was 5 weeks. Yeah, it was week 20 to week 24, so 5 weeks. And I'm here to tell you all about it. Now, if you've been following along with this video series, you know the first thing I like to do is highlight one of the spines that Emily Cook schedules for you to use throughout the entire year with this program. Now, she includes these spines, but she also has quite a few other books that you bring in, maybe a week here, a week there. So quite a few of them we got from the library, which I will highlight all of those books that we read over the last 5 weeks too. But this one is one that you use from week 1 all the way to the end. And it is Nat Geo's Wild Animal Atlas. So this is your main spine for the science portion of this curriculum. Because again, it's an animal study that you're doing across all of the different continents, all the different ecosystems, habitats across the world. And again, it's a more gentle introduction. It's not like a STEM-based science. And I think that's perfect for the younger years, frankly. And you know what? All kids at this age love animals, I swear. So it definitely has held my children's attention doing this type of science. Now, this book, as you can tell, is massive. Look at my head. It's not too big though. But I actually, when I first got it in the mail from Thrift Books, I was like, why is it so big? But I gotta tell you, I kind of actually now love how big it is because there are such wonderful pictures in this, and we just lay it out on the table when we're reading through it. The girls look over all the information, and it is segmented out by continent as well, which makes it perfect for this type of curriculum study. They will highlight multiple different animals for a different continent, tell you about the ecosystems, what it's like to live there, what kind of food they eat, if they get rainfall, if they don't. I mean, this is just the most beautiful book, I gotta tell you. And frankly, it was not that expensive either. I was pretty impressed with the price. And on top of that, I got it used. So I got it even cheaper than the retail price. But my girls have absolutely loved this book. I wouldn't scrimp on this. Could you theoretically rent it from the library? Rent it, borrow, you know what I'm saying? Borrow it from the library and like keep checking it out. For how cost effective this book is, I would just go ahead and purchase this one and save yourself the hassle of having to consistently check it out every couple of weeks from the library, because this has been a very big hit with my kids. It's just enough information for a younger elementary student to digest with the perfect amount of beautiful photos that capture their attention. Next up, I like to talk about an additional spine we have incorporated into the program because we love to bring in additional books. That's another reason why we are very Charlotte Mason, and the fact that we love books. We're literature based. All of it's amazing to us. And we also really like DK and Smithsonian. So without further ado, the additional spine is going to be Animal! Now, this book series, the exclamation point series, they are a little bit more advanced. We could easily use them through the high school years, which is why I think it's a good investment to buy it now when the girls are a little younger. It's not overwhelming with the facts on the page, but it does provide a lot more detail about the different animals than that the spine does that she recommends. So this is just kind of an additional reading book that you can have as an additional resource in your home. Lots of beautiful, realistic pictures. They're not CGI or anything. These are real photos. And the reason that we use this is because every time you finish up working on a continent, Emily Cook has your child do a research paper on an animal, do an animal profile. And so we use this as one of our research books. Yes, we can do the internet, and we do every time, but first I always have the girls try and look up in the glossary what's the animal they've chosen to do their research project on. They're learning how to do looking up in, books and things like that. It's teaching those research skills. And then they go into the book and they find it, and then I help them read, and find the information that they need. What are the predators of the animal? Where does it live? Grasslands, tundra, forest, etc. And this has just been a really good resource for them to help them with research. And then if we can't find it in one of the books that we have, then we go to the internet, So my kids aren't being deprived of technology by any means, but we do like to hit up books first if we can. So this has been a really solid additional spine. Not that we read it every week, but we use it as a research resource. Next, I'm going to talk about the different literature that we read over the last couple of weeks. Now, some of the books I did purchase, and some of them I was able to get at my library. So if I don't have it in my hand, I'll go ahead and put a picture up of it. So if you're looking to try and find it yourself, you know what the cover of the book looks like. So the first book that we read, and we read this over the entire 5 weeks that we were studying Africa. So it was kind of like a spine in that sense, but just briefly for the Africa unit was Africa is not a country. And I did purchase this. I was able to find it off Thrift Books for a very reasonable price. It's got beautiful illustrations. My girls were definitely captivated by it because it highlights a different country in each of the mini stories. And it highlights specifically a child in those different countries within Africa, talking about a child from Somalia or Egypt or what's this one? The Ivory Coast. There's just so much in here. But because it's highlighting a child's normal day, my kids really liked it because they're children and they could put themselves in their shoes and they were able to relate to it and really understand how their life was either similar or different from ours here. So I really liked that it captured their attention, but it showed them what the different cultures are like all over Africa. Because I know this sounds silly, but a lot of people kind of forget that Africa is not a country itself. It has multiple countries, I think 28, within the continent of Africa. And all of those countries are so diverse in their traditions and in just like the way they live, the ecosystem. So even like some are in the desert, some are in the tropical rainforest, or the grasslands. It's just so varied. It's such a different ecological varied system. It's very cool. So I think this really helped get that point across. And they even like realized like in South Africa, they have 11 different official languages just in South Africa, the country. So it was very, I think, eye-opening to them and gave them a good foundation and sense of Africa as a continent and then the different countries within it. The next book we read, which I got from the library, so I'll put it up here, is Jambo Means Hello. And it's basically a Swahili alphabet book, but it's a picture book, and it goes from A to Z, and it gives you a different word in Swahili and what it means and a little quick story behind it. It's a very easy book to read. You do read it over, I think, 2 weeks, so it's cut up into little bits and pieces, easily digestible. And then when they get to J for Jambo, it talks about how Jambo means hello. So the girls thought that was really cool. And then I remember at one point we were watching something and somebody said Jambo, and they're like, hey, that means hello. We figured that out from the book. And I was like, yay, it stuck. That's kind of cool. They're remembering that stuff. So very good book, very cool. Was thankful we could get it from our library. Next book we read, which my girls really liked this one, and this had really cool illustrations in it, and it had a really neat story behind it, was The Storyteller. And it's about water in the desert, and the storyteller tells, I don't want to give away too much actually, but there's a whole storytelling aspect to it, and how they it's commentary on cultural passing down through storytelling. It's really cool, and there's like a little bit of a magical, mystical element at the end of the story, but my girls really liked it. They really thought this was a cool one, so do not skimp on this if you do build your libraries. Level 0. The next one I purchased as well, because I was able to find it for a really good deal, was Nelson Mandela's Favorite African Folktales. My girls loved these stories. Again, it's about animals, so they love anything about animals, but folktales can be hit or miss with kids because they're steeped in like not reality, right? So it can be kind of confusing sometimes for kids, but these ones I think were really well written. Like I really enjoyed them, and they're really short and sweet and easy to read. So here's one. There's always a picture, really cool illustration to go with it. And then, oh wait, I pulled more than one page. And then that's it. So it's really only 2 pages, super easy to read, kept their attention. And the really cool part is that in one of these, it was basically like an African Cinderella story. So what Emily Cook does is she recommends some other books that you can get, because if you look at a lot of different cultures, there's always some form of a Cinderella story in each culture. So she gives recommendations, and these were the ones I was able to pull from my library, which were really fun to kind of read and compare and contrast different Cinderella stories from different cultures. So we got the Egyptian Cinderella story. We read these in our last week, and we just finished, so that's why I still have them from the library. Cendrillon, I think is how you say it. And this is a Caribbean Cinderella story. This one was kind of neat too. That was really neat and fun. And then you have Mufaro's Beautiful Daughters, An African Tale. So these were all, I mean, it's just full of rich culture and just learning about different places. The girls really enjoyed it, and they really liked these. So I'm glad we have this. We'll keep this. We'll definitely go back and read it on our own just for fun, because the girls really enjoyed the stories. And she doesn't schedule all the stories in here, so there's quite a few that we didn't get to yet. So we'll do that on our own time. And last but not least, another folktale story was Why Mosquitoes Buzz in People's Ears. And this is one of those fun stories that builds on itself. And then it's like you start at the beginning of the story, somebody does something, and then this person does something, and then they go back to the initial one, and it kind of like, it's like you start with A, and then AB, and then ABC, and it's kind of, I don't want to give away too much, but it's fun. And then ultimately it ends at the end of the book saying, this is why mosquitoes buzz in people's ears. Because folklore is all about trying to understand why something happens. That's something I learned actually this year. I didn't realize that. I was like, why do we call them folktales? I know there's like morals to be learned, but they're a little different than fables. So that's why they're folktales, is to describe or give a reason for things happen. So why mosquitoes buzz in people's ears. But again, this is another one that has really fun illustrations. It's got animals in there. You know, my kids love all that stuff. So definitely held their attention. They really enjoyed this one. Last but not least, I was gonna go over activities and crafts and things that we did over the last 5 weeks with y'all before closing out the video. One thing I was gonna mention is that at the end of this unit, I was planning to do this already, but Emily Cook actually recommends it in the curriculum. I was like, on the same wavelength, perfect. We closed out this unit with watching The Lion King. We tried the live action one that was recently made. They were scared of it. Because you got to think about it. It's like real, like it looks like real lions, and they're like ferocious, and the girls were like, we do not like that. I was like, okay, let's pull back. Let's do the cartoon friendly one that I grew up with. And they loved it. And they thought it was so fun. They pointed out all these animals, like the hyena they learned about, or the wildebeest, and of course the lion and the monkeys and all this stuff. So it was really kind of fun, because it also was like, hey, we've been learning about all these animals for the last 5 weeks. And they were like, look at that. We remember the meerkat. And well, I don't think the meerkat was in that, but you know what I'm saying? Because I tried to get them to watch Madagascar, but they've watched it so many times. They're like, we know what a meerkat looks like. I was like, okay. So The Lion King was a huge hit. The cartoon one, the original, not the live action one. Maybe when they get a little older, they will want to watch that again. To be honest, as an adult, it was kind of scary to me too. I was like, ooh, this is kind of terrifying, because it's real animals, you know? Well, CGI, but you know what I'm saying. So one thing I was going to mention is I put this in the front of the girls. So I have binders for each of the girls where we keep all the loose leaf paper. But as you go through Africa Is Not a Country, that book, you read it again slowly over the 5 weeks that you're doing Africa study. As you read about a story that happens with a child in that location, you color in this map, and we identify and write which country it is. So this kind of helped them understand which countries are where, what's happening in this cultural aspect of, you know, maybe Northwest Africa versus South Africa. So this kind of helped them with map work and visually understand Africa. And I thought that was a really good activity for us to do. The other thing we did a lot of was arts and crafts. We had fun this unit. There were a lot of good ones. Now, just so you guys know, we don't use the recommended spine. We use the old recommended spine from the old version, Around the World Arts and Activities. So this is different. If you go ahead and purchase the current version of Build Your Library Level 0, it will not have this spine. And neither does mine. I bought the new version, but I learned about this from Homeschooling Together podcast, because I just like this one better. It's a little better suited for younger kiddos. It's more, you know, paper crafts versus using other elements that might be harder to find or resource for our arts and crafts. So this is more up our alley, I guess is the best way to explain it. But so for my first one that I really love that we did was we made a zebra out of an envelope. I'm not kidding. Like, how funny is that? They ripped paper, they got to glue, they got to cut, they got to put googly eyes on the zebra. All good fun. So we, again, tying in with the animal themes. So that was a huge hit, of course. We also made, and I'm afraid I'm going to say this tribe name wrong, so if I do, I apologize, but this is how I read it. The Maasai people. We made a Maasai beaded necklace out of a paper plate. So in the arts and crafts, they're supposed to dot to represent the beads that they make for their necklaces. My girls went in their own direction and did glitter in their own version of paint. You know what? Art is what you make it. So I let them roll with it. So they've been wearing these around their necks, like actually the last couple of weeks. They won't let me throw them out. So these are probably gonna be in our house for a while. And last but not least, I wanted to highlight, we did an Ashanti, again, I might butcher this tribe name, so I apologize. Ashanti Kente cloth, which is woven cloth in that culture. They do a lot of weaving. And so basically it's the whole, you know, you cut and you weave the strips through and then you glue it. So they had a lot of fun with that one. And then last but not least, I always highlight one of my kiddos' animal profile pages. Today we're gonna do my youngest daughter's because she actually did the drawings. My oldest is now liking to write, which is not as fun to show. So I'm showing my youngest daughters because she does the drawing part of it. So here she decided to do a cheetah because she loves all feline type animals. So what my animal looks like, what does it eat? Antelope. Where does it live? Grasslands. What are my animal's predators? She drew a lion. And then what does it look like as a baby? I always let them print these out because they're just such the cutest pictures, the baby version. So she did a baby cheetah, and then she colored in where on the world you find cheetahs. And then last but not least, I like to show y'all my girls' passports and what they came up with. So this is my oldest daughter's passports. I printed these out. I found these online. Emily Cook has her own version in the curriculum, but I just found these. I just thought these were super cute. So Emily gives you this little sticker that you cut out. My daughter was supposed to color that, but she didn't. Again, she's not doing the fun colorings anymore. She's getting older, so she's writing everything. But she wrote, I had so much fun learning about Africa. It was so much fun. Animals, desert, locust, emperor, scorpion. I guess she was doing a list of things that she learned about. So that was hers. And then my youngest daughter, who again is in kindergarten, did she does actual drawings. Africa stamp for her passport. She drew a lemur, a cheetah, and then she drew the Madagascar flag right there because that's where lemurs are found. All right, y'all, that's it. We had a really fun time in Africa. I'm kind of sad because we only have 2 more continents to go and then we're done. But then we are going to start our Build Your Library Prehistory 6-week unit study, which I'm really pumped about too, because there's some dinosaurs, there's some early man in there. There's going to be some fun stuff going on with that one. But I am a little sad that this is coming to an end. But if we continue to use Build Your Library as one of our main curriculums, which I do plan to, we will come back around to World Geography with level 7. So, and it'll be a lot more fun because kids will be older. We'll be able to do even more, so it'll be a good time. But yeah, we've only got 2 more videos. We're moving into Australia and then the continent of Antarctica / the Arctic Circle up in the North Pole they talk about too. So you've only got me for 2 more videos after this. So I hope you are enjoying this series. I hope it's giving you information about, you know, if you're looking into Build Your Library Level 0 or Build Your Library at all, because I think this is a really good representation of Emily Cook's work. She's really, I mean, she does a fantastic job with her curriculum. We will be using components of level 1 next year as well for Ancient Worlds, which we're totally psyched about. And then we'll be using even more of her curriculum for the years after. So highly recommend Build Your Library. If you are into Charlotte Mason inspired curriculums, go get you level 0 to learn all about geography and the cultures around the world. If you have any questions about anything I spoke about in this video, please leave them down in the comments. Give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it, and hit that subscribe button if you're not subscribed to my channel and you love all things homeschooling, and I will see you in my next video. Bye, y'all.